yeah.
I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Mike Washington's out on assignment. 80 Drew will be here, but he's trying to fight a little bit of that Atlanta traffic, while Wilton Jackson II is making sure that we get it right, snacking on healthy meals in terms of granola bar, keeping his figure, I guess they will say, at a young age. It's good that you're doing that early. That's pretty good. But with that being said, can you guess where I am?
In New Orleans.
Yeah, I was about to say, Xavier.
How could you tell? Yes, I'm in New Orleans at the airport, doing another one of those travels as we do, trying to get you your HBCU sports news. As we hit the road, closing up on the season, we got to do what we got to do. But let me do it appropriately and say, welcome to episode 737 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the HBCU sporting, HBCU diaspora, all things HBCU sports for institutions, large and small, from the NEIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs in the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Cavil, along with my co-host. Today, that is Mike Washington. He's out on assignment. Charles Bishop, as well as Wilton Jackson II. 80 Drew. We're filming from our home studios in Signal Live, the KCUA's 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer. And right, Emmett, it is a big weekend as CIAA championships, SIAC championship bids are on the line. But we're in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. So I'm representing Xavier University. So got to give some love to the home team. But I'm out here with UNCF HBCU partnership on education programs and looking at ways to develop it and increase the pipeline for teachers in education. So very excited about what that looks like. And you know what we do. We continue to get the work done. So let me say, Charles, how are you doing today?
Doing well, Dr. Cavil. Had doing double duty today. Did play-by-play for Texas Southern Women's home opener this morning, season opener. They played the Wiley Wildcats. So fellow HBCU AC member with Xavier. So Wiley gave him a good game. It was a really good game. Texas Southern ended up opening it up, but there was a point in the third quarter where folks started to get a little antsy.
Well, you know, they were members of the Red River Athletic Conference, as you said, but Wiley has moved over to the HBCUAC, and Xavier has moved into the Red River Athletic Conference.
Oh, wow.
When they moved back, they moved to, the Southern Conference or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. Xavier's moving all the time, so we don't know quite where they are, so I'm still trying to figure it out as well. But regardless, they're getting it done. Wilton, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Doc. Another weekend of good college football. Like I said, this is the month of November. This is the separation period. We're going to see the good teams become great teams, and the good teams that thought they were great, they're going to start basketball season, as Charles would like to say. And, if you ain't starting basketball, maybe you're still playing some volleyball or some soccer or something like that. So, it's going to be a good weekend of games.
Yeah, I wonder if Charles, to your point, Charles snuck in a little bit of the basketball comments to make sure that folks that are moving towards basketball season fast in a hurry, he made sure they understood that that's what he believed.
Made sure the OT Strike Zone knew that they were in basketball season. So, yeah.
Did Jackson end their season officially in terms of pivoting to basketball?
Yeah, it doesn't happen until December.
Wow. That's big time. With that said, let's go ahead and get some of the news of the day. Let's go back to you, Charles. What news do you want to get out there to the public for HBCU this week?
Sure thing. The Southwestern Athletic Conference has tabbed Jackson State's Ahmad Miller, Bethune-Cookman's Antoine Watts and Javon Ross, Alabama State's Denzel Johnson, and Grambling State's Delano Franklin, as well as Alcorn State's Jalen Tolbert for SWAC Football Weekly Honors. Let's take a look at the offensive player of the week. Ahmad Miller, he finished Jackson State's game against Florida A&M with 165 yards on 19 carries. He finished with a long run of 64 yards before finishing the drive off with a 1-yard run at the end of the first half. So, and in fact, catch a great article by Wilton Jackson on Anscape on Ahmad Miller this past week.
Nice article, Wilton. Really good.
Yes, indeed. Co-defensive players of the week: Antoine Watts from Bethune-Cookman. He had a game-sealing 32-yard pick six as the Wildcats finished off an undefeated home season with a 42-34 win over Mississippi Valley State. He also added 2 breakups with a team-high 11 tackles, 9 of them being solo. Also, co-defensive player of the week was Denzel Johnson. Johnson tallied 11 tackles, 7 solo stops, a tackle for a loss, and 1 interception during Alabama State's win over Prairie View. The co-specialist of the week, Javon Ross, he took the opening kickoff to the house for an 85-yard touchdown to give the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats a lead from the jump during BCU's win over Mississippi Valley. And then another co-specialist was Franklin. Franklin scored the game-winning touchdown in Grambling State's 13-10 win over Alabama A&M. His touchdown was a 64-yard punt return in the fourth quarter that served as the catalyst for victory. Grambling State's Delano Franklin. And the newcomer of the week was Jalen Tolbert. Alcorn State's quarterback was efficient under center, completing 20 of 24 passes for 222 yards and a touchdown. He also made an impact on the ground, rushing 8 times for 35 yards. And those are your SWAC players of the week.
Shout out to the SWAC players of the week. Congratulations. And as you're talking about article, let me give a shout out to Eduardo, that is Eddie, as we know, Eduardo Massonet III. He had an article on Texas Southern University talking about them getting into the business of nutrition and what Coach Disman brought to Texas Southern University, for that matter, particularly to its teams, about giving them more options, moving away from Golden Corral, and even within Texas Southern University, the cafeteria, to moving past just a lot of those things that we love at times, but the fried food. And he's saying, hey, being more nutrition and him playing professionally and what it means to increase your longevity while you're in the league. We see that from basketball LeBron, how much he took care of his body. And then post is even more important at times of how you take on your body as you get older. So he's a vegan. And so, no, he's not requiring his team to eat like a vegan, but he certainly makes sure they have education, have more options about what that looks like. So with that being said, let me go to you, Wilson. What news do you want to bring to the table?
So I'm going to talk about the MEAC Football Player of the Week honors. North Carolina Central wide receiver Chauncey Spikes was named the Mideastern Athletic Conference Offensive Player of the Week. Howard's Kedrick Green was recognized as the Defensive Player of the Week. North Carolina Central's Trevon Humphrey was named Offensive Lineman of the Week. And Morgan State's Raymond Moore III was the rookie. Howard's Liam Allen IV was the Specialist of the Week. Spikes caught 9 passes for a career-high 208 yards and 3 touchdowns in the Eagles' 35-14 win versus Howard. His longest reception was an 80-yard catch. Spike's performance ranks as the 5th highest single receiving yard total in program history. Green recorded a game-high 12 tackles, including 10 solo stops, and added an interception against North Carolina Central. Humphrey graded out at a 94% on his blocking assignments with 5 pancake blocks in the Eagles' 35-14 win versus Howard. He anchored an offensive line that powered North Carolina Central to 471 total yards, including 321 through the air and 150 on the ground. Moore III completed 17 of 30 passes for 229 yards and 3 touchdowns, while rushing for 76 yards on 13 carries in the Bears matchup against South Carolina State. Allen IV averaged 49.7 yards per punt on 5 attempts, including 2 punts over 50 yards and 1 inside the 20. He also recorded a career-long 68-yard punt against North Carolina Central.
Good stuff, Wilson. Good stuff, Wilson. With that, let me go back to you, Charles. What other news do you want to put on the table for this week?
Sure. Let's take a look at a great article here with regards to Andrew Body. Report came out this week. Kyle Mosley broke that earlier this week in terms of Andrew Body getting a good report. His shoulder injury was not as bad as initially feared, so it looks like he could return to action in approximately a couple of weeks. So that would make him roughly around the Tuskegee game.
Yeah, be able to close out the season, and a couple of things continue to go their way. May even have postseason in their life in terms of what that looks like. So regardless, it's good to see that the injury was not what oftentimes we talk about catastrophic in terms of ending this season. But the fact that there's a chance for him to get out, in particular that final regular season game, that would be significant. So I hope that works out for him. That'd be big time. Wilton, what else you want to share in terms of news of the day?
Well, it's not so much of news, but just, considering, I know we'll talk about this in the next segment, but just some of these games, Dr. Cavil. I mean, you got, a lot of cross-divisional matchups in the SWAC this week, other than you have Jackson State playing Mississippi Valley, but you have a lot of those cross-divisional matchups like Southern and Alcorn play this week. Bethune-Cookman and Grambling, FAMU and Arkansas Pine Bluff, Texas Southern, Alabama State, Prairie View, and A&M. So really good slate of games to watch this weekend. And I think we're going to continue to get some of that separation and really kind of slowly refine and see which of these teams are really going to be amongst the top of the divisions by the end of the weekend.
Wilton, just rub it in. Just rub it in. If we looking at last weekend, 2 weeks ago, we talking about the West is ready, coming into play. The West may even host a championship game. And then last week, boy, you talking about that whole week, it was going back and forth in the vibe. 1 minute, I was like, oh, we're back to the old East crushing the West again. Then all of a sudden, you get a little comeback, and you say, oh, West is going to stand up. West is going to stand up. And you end up kind of have, a split, if you would. Grambling won, Prairie View lost. And then so fascinating when you talk about that, what that looks like. So intriguing to me when you think about the East and the West and how that is playing this season to see where that goes. So curious to see if Charles's premonition when expansion first took place, when everybody was saying the West, Alcorn slid over to the West. Everybody was really focused and saying the West is going to be deep. Prairie View, Southern, Grambling, Texas Southern, certainly Alcorn. All of a sudden, things shift to the East, and the East just really has dominated the West, to be frank, when you talk about those matchups. So curious to kind of think what that says. And this is another example to see those East-West matchups and see who has the edge. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on that, Charles?
Yeah, I mean, it's been very interesting to kind of sit back and watch this past season, especially with regards to some of the West teams, sort of making that step forward, Grambling knocking off Jackson State and things of that nature. But, things kind of settled back, if you will, last week. So it'll be interesting going forward to just kind of see what happens with regards to these cross-divisional matchups.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Shout out to Grambling because they were the West team that got the best of the East last week, Alabama A&M matchup. So they continue to hold strong. They get another chance this week with a big one, as you said, Wilton, which we'll take a deeper dive and really look at that. But you also get Prairie View with a chance. You get Texas Southern with a chance. Probably the biggest matchup in terms of teams that both need the win to stay in the hunt, with one of the top teams out of the West against one of the top teams in the East. So it'll be interesting to see what that looks like. One of them, Alabama State, will be playing with the quarterback. While you had the good news that it looks like Body will be coming back. It obviously said in a couple of weeks, so he's not going to play this weekend. So that's something to take into consideration as we look in those matchups. But before we take our final segment, any final thought that you want to put on that, Wilton, in terms of where you kind of lean, where you see the strength of the SWAC at this time?
I definitely think the strength is still on the east side. Between Jackson State and Alabama.
Yeah, I figured that. That's why you brought it up.
I mean, it just is what it is.
The record says that.
Hey, I just watched the game.
About his data. You're absolutely right. I'm not gonna try to beat you up over data.
Yeah,
I just thought it was convenient that you brought it up. But go ahead.
Yeah. I just watched the games, but I will say this though.
I just watched the games. Okay.
If there was a team that I felt like really needed a bounce back win this week, that really shocked me this past weekend is Texas Southern. I did not have them losing to
That's a good
Alcorn.
point.
Yeah.
I mean, they made Jalen Tolbert look, and no discredit to him, but they made Jalen Tolbert look really solid through the air. This is not someone who actually does a lot
That's
of,
right.
putting the
All
ball
year
through the
long
air.
he's struggling. Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so I think another point before we go to this break, I want to put this out there. I think this is more defining on Texas Southern in terms of where Coach Dishman wants to say the program is going. He really could use this victory. Obviously, he wants it to stay in the race, but that may be a little far-fetched when you look at the schedule for both. That, probably missed the opportunity last weekend to really put significant pressure on Prairie View, if you would. Now, it's not over until it's over, but I think it's even bigger than that, regardless whether they get a chance to play for a championship this year. In terms of stating that statement of moving the program forward, the ability to get to 6 wins, 7 wins, this game is on the table to make sure you can do that. So I think you bring up an excellent point when you talk about the challenges Texas Southern had last week. So with that, let's take our first break, come back on the other side, and let's actually get into some of those matchups, break them down in terms of what you can expect this weekend as you look forward to some more SWAC, MEAC football on the side of things, as well as those big matchups in the CIAA SIAC. We'll be right back after this first break.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU.
College football fans, the Cricket Celebration Bowl is celebrating 10 years of crowning an HBCU national champion. A champion will rise at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on December 13th as the MEAC and SWAC champions clash in Atlanta. Join us for championship football, interactive fan experiences, and iconic marching bands. It's an HBCU family reunion that you don't want to miss. See who will be crowned the next HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit the celebration.
Compress the analytic data with your hip-hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want a lot, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Charles Bishop and Wilton Jackson II. As we get back into these matchups, we will give you some updates in terms of Kyle Mosley, HBCU Legends, SDS Plus. We don't have AD Drew to kind of give you his breakdown, the correlation of those things. So we will get back to that next week as we get into some of the advanced analytics in terms of the details. Now, this is the time, Charles and Wilton, that both of them will say that they went 100%. I don't have the data so they can come back and they'll be like, Cavil, why you didn't do the updates? Well, you didn't send them on time for the show. But they'll be coming up and talking about, yeah, mine was excellent. It went 10, I hit 10 for 10, 11 for 11, 12 for 12. Oh, there go AD Drew. So he can't sneak in there and say he ain't got it now. We'll see what that means because Mosley didn't send his on time. So we're going to have to go with the A team in terms of Drew's metrics. So I know he's excited to be able to do that. But we talked a little bit about this matchup, so it's good that it's the first one on the path. It is number 9 Texas Southern Tigers, 4-4 and 3-2, at number 1 Alabama State, the Hornets that are 6-3 and 4-1. So I'm interested to see what does it mean in this matchup, where you essentially got a top 10 matchup. You got number 9 Houston that goes on the road. This is a charter flight flying in. So you got a couple of players that hadn't flown before, but they are taking care of them, getting them in the air. So that's going to be fascinating in terms of this matchup. You get the backup quarterback that has gotten snaps all weekend long for Alabama State. So I'm interested to see what you think. I'm going to go with you, Charles, first in terms of this matchup, as you had a little more time to dig and get into the numbers in terms of your analysis versus what we did on Sunday. What are you thinking now that you got a full statement on body and the thoughts that Alabama State at quarterback that's going to start has had all week to practice?
Well, I think it's very interesting, especially with regards to Tayshaun Smoot, because you talk to some people around the Alabama State program, and they'll tell you back in the summer that he and Body were running neck and neck, and Body, who had the experience, they decided to go with Body in terms of what he was able to do, and we saw Andrew Body take off this season, but Smoot pushed him all through the beginning of practice. So it'll be very interesting to see can Alabama State, one, get the passing game up and going, but I think the thing that you look at with this game is Texas Southern and their defense. They're the third-ranked scoring defense in the SWAC, and they have some of the best linebackers in the conference. Can those linebackers get to Smoot, get him off rhythm, get him off target, things of that nature? And if they are able to kind of pin their ears back and start coming after Alabama State's quarterback, it's going to be very interesting because Texas Southern can run the football with Ethan Renfro. I will take Alabama State at home, but not by that much. I can see this coming down to a last-second field goal.
Before I go to Wilton, let me go to you, AD Drew. Do you got any metrics that you want to share before you give any thoughts? And then we'll let Wilton chime in based on hearing these metrics after hearing Charles, see where he wants to go with this matchup. See if it changes his mind some, or maybe keeps him right on pace. Well, Drew had to drop out. He's dealing with the White House new place. So let me go straight to you, Wilton. Without hearing the metrics, what are your thoughts?
And, Charles kind of mentioned Tayshaun Smoot for Alabama State, obviously, because he'll be the quarterback playing in this game. But here's the thing that still excites me about Alabama State going up against Texas Southern is the fact that, they have a true rushing attack. And Jamari Holtzclaw, Marcus Harris II, Jabari Cooey-Kendall, these three guys can move the ball down the field, can run through the trenches, can get along the edges and make plays. So if you are someone like Tayshaun Smoot, you're actually hoping that the trio of those running backs make your life a lot easier. And I have a good feeling that Coach Robinson is going to make it in such a way that those running backs make life easier for Tayshaun Smoot when he gets under center on Saturday. With this game being at Alabama State, knowing that this is a Hornets team that's still trying to find its way in playing for a SWAC championship, I definitely expect them to come out with a sense of true motivation and get this win against Texas Southern, because I feel like Texas Southern, to Charles' point, they do have talented linebackers that can make plays, and I expect them to make some plays. But I think that if Alabama State is able to get the running game going early to kind of help offset some of the things that Tayshaun Smoot would have to do, I think it bodes well for Alabama State.
Yeah, let's move to the next matchup. Number 2 Jackson State Tigers move back closer to the number 1 position they were at. Jackson State Tigers 6-2, 4-1 at Mississippi Valley State. Delta Devils 1-7, 0-4. I'm not sure that anybody's really concerned on this matchup. Charles will probably try to find a way to have me concerned with Valley. But in all seriousness, Valley still plays hard, and they have the chance to get some upsets. I just don't see the matchup working here, just because some teams I can see why they would play down the Valley. Jackson State, it's a little hard for them to do that. Valley's going to play with them. But just over the course of a game, it's hard. I wonder if this is a game that would be better played if you looked at playing it early in the year, maybe as a Labor Day Classic. You know, where you can drive some interest of the fact that it's everybody's first game in that interest. For Valley, I just think playing this game later in the season is just tough because they have that attrition factor. So even when they start out so well, so hard, it's interesting. Yeah, I believe in a lot of ways this probably is a blowout. But go from that perspective, if you would, if I can entice you, Charles. What are your thoughts of playing this game early in the season, even maybe to start things off in Labor Day Classic?
I think it's intriguing. I think one of the things that you kind of look at is from a head coach. I mean, I know they do it with Texas Southern and Prairie View, but I'm not sure that they want to start the season off with a swag game. You know, that early. You know, being Labor Day. So I think that's one of the concerns.
I don't think Mississippi Valley cares. I mean, they play tough matchups in non-conference. They play some of the toughest non-conference matchups you can play. So I don't think it matters to them. Now, Jackson State, I can see they have it. But if you move it to Jackson, over things off Labor Day Classic, maybe the financial benefits are there.
That's intriguing. I don't want to mess around with Valley like that because they play Jackson State so hard.
Man, you all with the Southern and Valley, you all provide much more stock than anybody ever could provide. I'm going to even skip over Wilson. I don't want to hear it because he says the same thing. I'll come back to the next matchup. 80 Drew, what are your thoughts in terms of moving this Labor Day Classic? Can I at least sell you?
You can, Dr. Cavil, and I'm going to give you one reason why you can sell me on that. I understand Charles's concerns, and Wilton probably has the same concerns.
That's why it'd be good because at least people would be like.
But let me take care of that concern, though. With FCS now being allowed to play week 0, the teams can actually get a game in before the Labor Day Classic so they can tweak everything that they need to. And I know this is probably more important for Jackson State to get their game in versus Valley. Than Valley to get their game in.
Does that work for you, Charles?
Maybe. I know not to play with the Delta Devils like that if you're Jackson State fan.
Literally, don't play with the Devils.
You ever dance with the Devils in the dark of the moonlight, Charles?
Oh, my goodness. Let's go to this next one before we have our second break. Man, y'all take all the fun out of this show. Okay, let's go with this next matchup. You have number 5 Prairie View A&M Panthers at 6-3, 4-1. They're taking flights as well. They go to Huntsville, Alabama. Alabama A&M, the Bulldogs, come in with a record of 4-5, 1-4. They would love to be able to back up the strength of the Eastern Division, you know, get to the 500 mark on the season, which would be important to them. But they are down to their backup quarterbacks. We got the news by Quad Brown. Obviously had that, what we saw was a challenge in, but we learned officially this week that he is out for the season against that game against Jackson State. So that's a tough one. When they started at least playing really well on offense, known they struggled on defense. Now it looks like they're struggling on both. Go ahead, Wilson, since I took the mic away from you last time because you don't play well. So you get a chance to start it off now.
Well, you know, if Mike was on the show today, he would say, you know, well, Wilson's a teacher's pet. So I guess today I ain't the teacher's pet.
Hey,
it's all good. It's all good. But no, with this game,
keep bringing that vodka and apple juice. You know the apple? Oh, yeah.
I got you. But no, so when I think about this game between Prairie View and A&M, this is a Prairie View team that's definitely going to be hungry to bounce back after their loss to Alabama State. But I will say this, for them to win this game, Cameron Peters cannot be throwing the ball into coverage. Now, granted, those 4 interceptions, 2 of them were tipped passes. So I'll let those 2 kind of slide. But some of the passes he made, I'm thinking to myself, like, you cannot throw that into double coverage like that. And then more than anything, sticking to what really helps Prairie View win games, right? So we know that starts with your running backs like your Chase Bingman. And if you're going to pass the ball, be smart in the decision-making. And, of course, going after your key playmaker in Josiah Rockwell. But this game is going to come down to offensive efficiency for Prairie View and them being consistent, but then also making sure that their defense, which we know that has been good pretty much all season, pretty much slowing down a Bulldogs offense, which should already be slowed down in a bit because, to your point, Dr. Cavil, they'll be on their second backup quarterback.
Good stuff. Charles?
Yeah, I agree with Wilton wholeheartedly. I mean, I think you take a look at Alabama A&M, they're playing with the third starter, if you will, at quarterback. It's going to be pretty difficult against the conference's number one defense. I think Prairie View gets that get that running game up and going with Chase Beeman and Lamaje McDowell. Then they can start play action, and you get Josiah Rockwell running deep. And I think that'll be what you'll see in this game with regards to Prairie View. They go on the road and get the W.
Good stuff. AD Drew, take us home.
Looks like the state of Alabama is allergic to starting quarterback because the starting quarterbacks can't stay healthy. So I'm going with the Panthers in this one.
Yeah, good points, and I think you're straight. Let me give Cedric Walker some love. He cracked me up. That will not work, Dr. Cavil. Our fans would be livid. Well, I guess that ends the conversation. We tried. I don't want to make any fans livid. Jackson has been good to me. I've always said that. Fans as well. So not my place to make them livid. Just throwing something out there because, you can help your brother down the street, but y'all like, no, we like beating them up just fine. We'll wait another 20 years. Let them get it right. That's cold-blooded. Let's take our next break, come back on the other side and talk about a couple of more matches with these guys where they don't have to worry about putting Jackson State out there with the schedule, playing AB in this segment. All right, let's take our next break.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Planning an event? From weddings to corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC brings over 15 years of experience to make your vision a reality. Based in Metro Atlanta and serving statewide, even internationally, we provide versatile event planning and authentic catering cuisines tailored to your needs. Whether it's pre-game meals for student athletes, fundraisers, weddings, corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC is your one-stop solution for exceptional service and unforgettable food. Our diverse culinary heritage means we cater to all cultural taste, dietary needs, and food restrictions, making every meal uniquely yours. Let's make your next event unforgettable. Visit us on all social media at CMJ Events LLC or email us at cmjeventsllc@gmail.com. Also give us a call at 404-664-3882 so that we can start planning now.
College football fans, a champion will rise in Atlanta on December 13th. MEAC champion, SWAC champion, the 10th Cricket Celebration Bowl, crowning an HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and parenting education coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
ESPN Events presents Red Lobster Band of the Year. Returning to Atlanta on December 12th, 4 bands will qualify for the big stage, where 2 national champions will be crowned. Follow us for rankings updates throughout the season, and join us on December 12th for event and ticket information.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside HBCU Sports Lab with the professors. That's Professor Bishop, Professor Jackson II, Professor Drew. Let's get back in these matchups. And I had them flipped. I had Prairie View at 5, but this is actually South Carolina State, and they should be at number 3. So this is a 3 versus 10 matchup. Howard Bison had a tough loss last week to North Carolina Central on the road, but now they got to go back on the road a little further south as they go to South Carolina. This is Number 10 again, Howard Bison 4-5, 1-1 at what should be number 3 South Carolina State Bulldogs is 6-3, 2-0. The Bulldogs look to stay in the race as they are actually chasing and trying to stay with Delaware State, the Hornets, that are also 2-0 with North Carolina Central. We'll talk about them further down the road. But let's jump right back into what your thoughts are on this matchup. Again, South Carolina State being at the top of the conference as the reigning MEAC champions, to me, are not getting any shine. That's just weird to me. And this is a proud program, many championships. I just don't understand how this happened, but sometimes it does. Wilton Jackson II. What are your thoughts in terms of this matchup?
You know what, Doc? This is really going right into Chennisberry's
There you go.
and what he feels like for where he wants his team to be. He doesn't need the spotlight for his team to play well. And I think that's exactly what you're seeing. Since they had that loss to Charleston Southern in the end part of September, they've won 4 straight. And you talk about the play of William Atkins, the fourth, their quarterback. He's really come on over the last couple of weeks and played exceptionally well for the Bulldogs. And they're really starting to click at the right time. And if you're a coach, if you coach Chennisberry, this is exactly what you want. You had some shaky moments, kind of starting off the season, but they're starting to come together. And again, in the MEAC, we all know that because conference play just started 2 weeks ago, you lose one game, that might be your chance of missing out on potentially winning the MEAC championship and or a berth into the Celebration Bowl. So I think that with South Carolina State, I think they get the win against Howard. Howard has been inconsistent pretty much the entire year. I just think it's going to be too much William Atkins, too much Tyler Smith on the ground. As long as South Carolina is able to have that balance of the both of them in orchestrating their offense and getting stops against Howard's offense, which pretty much is a strong rushing attack, then this is a game that South Carolina State is going to win.
Good stuff. Good breakdown, Charles.
Yeah, I agree with Wilton wholeheartedly. I think when you take a look at it, the question for me, can Howard score enough? I mean, I just think they're in the bottom of the conference with regards to offense, and they're going to be on the road taking on South Carolina State. And like you said, Chennisberry and the South Carolina State Bulldogs, they're just creeping in the weeds. Nobody's talking about them. All the spotlight is on Delaware State, and it's perfect for South Carolina State to just do what they do week in, week out. Like Wilton said, a little bit too much William Atkins for Jordan Smith. He's one of the top receivers in the conference as well. So they can get that passing game up and going. They'll be just fine. William Atkins, 363 yards last week throwing the ball against Morgan State.
80, Drew?
This is one where there's a metric that says Howard could potentially pull off the upset in this particular game, fellas. And I am looking at my BCSN efficiency rating, which I debuted on the show this past Sunday.
Nice.
And Howard comes in at number 10, even though they're a negative 1.55. But look all the way down there at the bottom, everybody, at negative 5.22 South Carolina State. What this metric measures, fellas, is how efficient your offense and your defense are in respect to the yardage that they gain. Make it real simple. Every 100 yards that your offense goes, you should get 7 points. Every 100 yards that the opponent's offense goes against your defense, they should get 7 points. Well, when we look at Howard, they're 1.5 points behind where they should be. But look at South Carolina State. That means they are not as efficient as they should be, which means when they are getting it, it's because of big plays and turnovers that's allowing South Carolina State to stay in. So just a metric out there to say there could be an upset, and here's a number that's telling you why that upset will occur.
It's interesting. I do want to ask you this in terms of that metric as we get back into it. Is that all games?
Yes, that does. Okay. FBS and Division II games. That's all games.
With that being said, let's move on to the next matchup and get back in there. I'm going to stick with you, Drew, and let you do your matrix and see if it throws Wilton and Charles off in terms of Delaware State Hornets against Morgan State Bears. The Hornets sit at 6-3, 2-0. The Morgan State Bears at 3-6, 0-2. Coming into this, you think it'll be all Hornets over the Bears? The Bears are kind of challenging the way you look at it. They played several close games, but they can't get any victories. And Delaware State probably just has too much offense for Morgan State, even though they play pretty good defense. But Morgan State really has a problem with offense, much like Howard. Drew, go ahead, take it away.
Well, I'm gonna keep it real simple and let the other guys give you the analysis portion of it. To the metric, and when we look at the metric, Delaware State 5.68 to the good, Morgan State 2.47 to the better. That means Morgan State is Delaware State is 8 points more efficient if they do their normal output than Morgan State. What this says is Morgan State by 2 scores.
Wilton?
I got Delaware State winning this game. I know this game is at Morgan State, but I definitely think go ahead.
I meant to say Delaware State. I did not mean Morgan State. I meant to say Delaware State.
I was like, this is going to be one time where Drew is going to be totally wrong with this metric if that was the case in what you were saying. But I definitely,
I said the wrong school.
I got you. No problem. Like, I definitely think that this is a game that Delaware State will win. I don't think it'll be a blowout, but I definitely think it'll be a win. I just think that as long as the rushing attack for Delaware State comes on strong like it has been in recent weeks and really throughout the season, this is a team when they're able to run the ball and then allow for Caden Bennett to open the field up in the passing game, they're a really dangerous team. They have a key wide receiver, Najee Lally, who is really, really talented and has been coming up with some spectacular plays for the Hornets on offense in the passing game. But I think the one thing that maybe concerns me a little bit, but again, because Morgan State has struggled offensively throughout this season, is that there are times where Delaware State gives up big punches of yards like they did last week against Norfolk State. And that's no discredit to Norfolk State because you wanted the game to be entertaining and you knew that there were going to be some plays that they were going to get off. But I think for me, in watching Delaware State make that game a lot more interesting than what it had to be in the second half, I expect them to make sure they have adjustments ready and made to slow down or to definitely essentially contain Morgan State from scoring any points should that actually happen in this game.
Charles, where are you with this matchup?
I'm going to take you back to Bethune-Cookman and South Carolina State. Remember that fourth quarter where Bethune-Cookman scored a ridiculous amount of points. I think they put up 28 in the fourth quarter, and they haven't looked back since. Morgan State putting up 20 in the fourth quarter last week. Is that a precursor that they figured out something on offense? I think it could be a little bit of a challenge with regards to Delaware State. Watch this. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to take Morgan State at home.
Ooh, fascinating. Let's take our last break with that tease. They get everybody excited for a minute.
Yeah.
Didn't know what to say after that one. But that being said, let's take our last break and come back on the other side. Give you a couple more matchups, get you prepared to look at the games this weekend, especially as you look at this Hornet versus the Bears, because Charles just called an upset. Let's stick with it. We'll get right back after this break.
The Cricket Celebration Bowl is celebrating 10 years of crowning an HBCU national champion. A champion will rise at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on December 13th as the MEAC and SWAC champions clash in Atlanta. Join us for championship football, interactive fan experiences, and iconic marching bands. It's an HBCU family reunion that you don't want to miss. See who will be crowned the next HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear an HBCU image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU.
With over 25 years of serving our communities, Destiny Financial Services, a division of Global Life, is here to help you and your family through difficult times. From cancer care to accidental industries to cardiac care. We all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life, but you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call DFS at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at www.globelifeinsurance.com. That is 877-300-8269 or again, the website at www.globelifeinsurance.com.
ESPN Events presents Red Lobster Band of the Year, a title reserved for elite HBCU marching bands. A season-long competition that culminates in Atlanta on Friday, December 12th. Drum majors, percussion, drill, auxiliaries, musicality. All aspects will be examined by the toughest judges in the world of college bands. 4 will qualify for the big stage, where national champions will be crowned. Follow us on social media for rankings updates throughout the season. And join us in Atlanta on December 12th for event and ticket.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Dr. Cavil's inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Michael Washington, Charles Bishop. Let's get back into it. Let's look at this matchup. Norfolk State Spartans at 1-8, 0-2 at number 6. North Carolina Central equals 6-3, 1-1. Michael Vick can do any magic. He pushed a lot into that last Thursday game, doing everything he could, at least make it close. Had a couple of chances in that game. Interesting. Late turnover made it challenging. They did get back into the end zone and made it a 7-point game. Couldn't get an onside kick or a stop. But with that being said, Charles, what are you with this game? Do the Spartans have a chance?
No, the Spartans, that was their last gasp last week. They gave it all they got, and they came up short. And now, here comes some elbows come flying now. So Walker Harris, North Carolina Central offense, they're up and rolling this weekend. So I look for them to win that one big.
Wilton?
Basketball season is, boy, I tell you, it's here now. So I think at Norfolk State, it's time to, get the basketballs coming out. Like Drew said, put them out on the court. I need to hear exactly, Charles. I need to hear some squeaking on the floor because it's basketball season in Norfolk. I just think it's going to be too much Walker Harris, Christian Mosley. I think they get the job done. This is very much a hungry North Carolina Central team that's still hoping to get back or still hoping to win the MEAC and get back to the Celebration Bowl despite that one loss. And I just don't see them dropping another game. Especially against Norfolk State in that quest to do that.
Yeah, Coach has a pretty focus. I don't think Spartans have enough. But AD, Drew, any final thoughts? Is there a chance?
Pregnant pause. Norfolk, you have a new women's basketball. Good chance to
y'all not nice.
Read the bio and find out who the basketball coach. No metrics are needed in this game. This is 100% eye test, and I need glasses so thick to see Norfolk pulling this one off Dr. Cavil. They don't make Coke bottle glasses anymore, so I don't see it.
Wow. Let's go to the next one. I think in a lot of ways, while this is just a 7 versus 8, I think this might be one of the most interesting games this week. The history of Grambling going into the hole. We've seen this matchup right a couple of years before Bethune-Cookman made the decision with FAMU to go to the expansion. Now we get it a couple of years into the scheduling, and you have number 8 Bethune-Cookman Wildcats is sitting 5-4. More importantly, 4-1 at number 7 Grambling State Tigers 6-3, 3-2. Grambling has a couple of big wins as they put themselves one game behind Prairie View. Obviously, they don't have the tiebreaker, so they need a couple of things to go their way. but they like to push the limits and just finish the season strong. You got the Wildcats sitting at 5-4, 4-1. They still have Jackson State on the schedule. Yes, they did lose to Alabama State, but they have a lot of reason to play well in this game as well. 80 Drew, what are your thoughts in terms of the Wildcats going into the hole in Louisiana? North Louisiana, that be.
Dr. Cavil, you know you broke protocol. You should never ask a rattler to start the discussion when talking about that school on the beat. But so that I can keep your respect level at where it is. This is an intriguing matchup. You've got all O, no D, Bethune-Cookman going up against Grambling team. Who is T playing anybody? Somebody help me out. Is T playing this game?
No.
That's the point. That's my point. Grambling have to put up points to be able to keep up with the Wildcats. And without decent being there, I just don't see it happening. And Grambling, soon, as long as they are not looking ahead to next week, I think Bethune-Cookman is this from going away.
Wow, interesting. How many people win big in the hole? Even calls just don't quite go your way to do that. Even they find a way to at least make it close. Wilson, Jackson.
Doc, this is a real intriguing matchup to what Drew just said. And I think that when I say it's intriguing, it's just because on one side, you think to yourself, well, you know what Bethune-Cookman can do offensively with Cameron Ransom and the weapons that they have, the speed that they have on offense. But they can't stop nobody. This is the same team that went toe-to-toe with Valley last week and let Valley score at least, 30 points? I want to say Valley scored over 30-plus points, right? So in that, knowing that if this is a Grambling team that can remotely get Trey Bradford going, their running back, in addition to the backup quarterback that they have under center now, and then the fact that Grambling is also playing at home. So if you're Bethune-Cookman, you need to be, locked and loaded coming into this game, this road game. But something I want to point out in addition to that is that at this point in the season, when the season started, I did not have Bethune-Cookman having 5 wins right now.
Yeah.
And more than that, like the last time I was just doing some research today, the last time they had a winning season was 2019. So depending on how they got a tough schedule also to end the season too. So just kind of depending on how things go, this could help in terms of them finishing with a winning season if they get this win against Grambling.
They got one more win coming, Wilton.
Wow.
Y'all read between the lines, but
you don't have to say more. You said it. Charles, where are you in this matchup before we get too far ahead of ourselves?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big issue here with Grambling is you're just asking the offense to do, or you're asking the defense, I should say, to do a lot of heavy lifting. And at some point, I think that's going to wear them down. I think
dam is going to break.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about Grambling's defense, I mean, they get after the quarterback. So, they're going to get some opportunities to really come after Bethune-Cookman's quarterback. So I think that's the thing that I'm really paying attention to. They got 25 sacks coming into the game. So can they get after Cameron Ransom and create some turnovers, create some short field opportunities? But I think 20-20 is just going to be too hard for Grambling to get the W in this game.
Well, that'll do it for our top matchups, but we do have a couple of left out there. One of them is a rivalry matchup. We hadn't seen the rivalry at this level for both schools, so from that perspective, it's odd. Southern Jaguars 1-8, 0-5, and Alcorn State Braves 3-6, 2-3. Notice really doesn't do anything for the race. Obviously, Braves have won 2 straight. They love to get the licks in on Southern like everybody else. Southern would love for Fred to come back and get a win against his former team. So from that perspective, there are some storylines in this. But Wilton, where are you in terms of this match?
I got Alcorn winning this game, man. And like I said, I don't want to get too high in what I saw on tape from Jalen Tolbert last week. But, I mean, what I saw was that although he can run the ball, he can actually really throw the ball consistently. I mean, that's what we saw against Texas Southern. So if he can do that against Southern, I think they have a strong chance in winning this game because we know that the rushing attack is going to be there. We know that defensively, Alcorn is going to make plays to get stops against Southern. So it's really going to come down to, can they have more balance, like the balance that they had against Texas Southern? And if that's the case, and this game is also at Alcorn on the reservation, I got Alcorn getting a fourth win. I hate to see Fred McNair lose to his former team, but it's definitely going to happen.
He said definitely going to happen. Drew, is it definitely going to happen?
It definitely will not happen. And it's something every one of those guys down there on the bayou know the significance of this game. Whether they want Fred McNair to be considered their coach next year or not, those kids down there, when your coach is going back to play his alma mater and the place where he coached, and if there's any ounce of fight in the Southern Jaguars, any sense of pride, they are going to play above and beyond what they are capable of. Southern, we know Southern can actually run the ball.
Yeah.
They have one of the better running backs in the conference. They have a decent run game. They just don't do anything. So if that defense can create short field where they're throwing it down and figure out a way to do that and shorten the game, Southern can go in here and pull off a victory. And Fred McNair can stand on that big A in the middle. That's the logo, everybody, and tell them, screw y'all. Y'all did me dirty. This field is still mine.
Charles, he tried to sell you, but your look just says you're not buying it.
Listen, they can want it all day for Fred McNair, but they can't.
Exactly.
They can't stop the run. That's the issue. I mean, and Alcorn still has Ja'Cory Sewell back there. They got Reggie Davis. They got a nice 1-2 punch, and I think you saw it last week with Texas Southern. The fact that they were able to run the ball, it really opened things up. And they were able to get the passing up and going. So, Jalen Tolbert, I think, is going to have a fun time on the reservation because, listen, they can't lose to a 1-8 Southern at home. That ain't gonna play out well at all. So I got the Braves in this one.
But you know what, Drew? If Southern finds a way to win this game, we talk about how wacky the West is. This would be one of those wacky moments.
Super wacky. Yeah.
Yeah.
And hey, this is that week every year where crazy stuff happened. The second week of November, something always crazy always happens. This is the straight jacket game, everybody. This is the crazy man game.
That was my metric for picking Morgan State.
Hey, I like it. So Drew has his, Charles has his. Let's get this one in here. Florida A&M Rattlers at 3-5, 2-2 at Arkansas Pine Bluff Golden Lions 3-5, 2-3. Can this be the year while Golden Lions just sitting 3-5? Can this be a pivot turning point where the Golden Lions get both Southern and FAMU in the same year? That doesn't happen very often. Charles, quickly, what are your thoughts? Is there a chance Golden Lions get this? Which way you go?
No, I'm gonna go with the Rattlers. I'm gonna go with the Rattlers on the road.
Jackson, you going Rattlers or Golden Lions?
I'm gonna go with the Rattlers, but but I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm hoping that Arkansas Pine Bluff finds a way to maybe potentially get another win in this season. But I'm definitely going with the Rattlers.
He even say what he say he wants to get another. It's a maybe potential. Drew.
I refuse to comment on the grounds that my orange and green card may get revoked. Let's just hope the rattlers don't rattle. That's all I'm gonna say. They've been finding a way to FAMU lately.
We're gonna go through these two really quickly. Virginia State, the mid-major games, we got to give them some love. We did the deep dive on Tuesday. 7 Virginia State Trojans against number 2 Virginia Union Panthers. The Panthers at home. Can Trojans do it back-to-back years? Charles, yes or no?
No.
Jackson, Wilton.
Too much Curtis Allen. I think this is their year.
No love for Dr. Henry Fraser. Drew, he's even silent on that one. The next one may be a little more interesting. Number 9, Livingston Blue Bears 5-4, 4-3 at Johnson C. Smith Golden Bulls 8-1, 5-1, number 3, they get it done. They're in the championship game. What are your thoughts in terms of this? Drew?
Not after what happened to Johnson C last year. No.
There you go. Wilton, Johnson, Smith gets it done.
Yep, they do.
Charles?
Go to Bulls.
We didn't go over Albany State. We kind of wrapped that up. We said it's in there. You do have Benedict Tigers, Savannah State playoff hopes on the bid, trying to make sure they're the other representative in the SIEC. Then obviously you have number 5 Kentucky State Thoroughbred 7-6-1 at Lane Dragons 0-9-0-7. So if Benedict can't get the win, Kentucky State is right in the place where they might be heading back down south to Albany State the following week for a championship game. That'll do it for us as you have those matchups there. Get back into it, and we'll close things up right here. In terms of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, as I said, here in New Orleans at Louis Armstrong International Airport. Good to be in New Orleans. Great food, great fun always. But it's time for me to bid adieu. I'm going to find a way to Seattle, see if I can catch up with y'all there as I continue to make moves for Texas Southern University and the College of Education. Thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Watson and Charles Bishop. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Watson and Charles Bishop. It's every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. On Sundays at 9 a.m., we will be back at it. We might even push the show up a little bit or back a little bit. I will make sure that we get the information out to y'all, particularly to the gentlemen. But we do plan on having a show on Sunday. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, on Threads, Facebook, and Instagram. That's DrKenyattaCavil, Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Facebook, Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube. Obviously, thank you for Wilton Jackson, the second AD Drew. Dream big, continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles.
Of course.
Wilton.
Lecture.
Drew.
Dismissed.